Welcome to today's Explainer. For decades, pop culture has painted a very specific and honestly kind of flat picture of history's most famous dinosaur. Well, today, we're going to completely dismantle that whole Hollywood monster trope. Instead, we are exploring a stunning, deeply complex biological reality, tracking this magnificent creature through a life cycle that is honestly way more fascinating than any movie script out there. Let's get right into it. So right off the bat, think about this. How does a fluffy little creature, smaller than a modern house cat, ultimately become a bone-crushing 8,000-kilogram king of the ecosystem? I mean, it seems physically impossible, right? But the fossil record reveals this incredible story of relentless adaptation and survival. To really understand this, we've got to set the scene. Imagine Hell Creek, North America, 66 million years ago. Picture a vibrant, humid floodplain, choked with giant bald cypress trees and slow-moving rivers, all bathed in this soft, misty, golden-green dawn light. It's like a lush, cinematic landscape, beautiful, incredibly dynamic, but absolutely dangerous. Survival here is an exhausting daily negotiation. And this is exactly where our fragile legacy begins.
Chapter 1: The Cradle of Dust.
Deep in the shadows of that ancient forest, totally hidden from predators, there's a low mound of rotting vegetation. The heat from that decaying plant matter is basically a natural incubator. And then, a rhythmic tap. A tiny egg tooth cracks a calcified shell from the inside, and a new life steps out into the Cretaceous air. And let me tell you, this newborn does not look like a tyrant. The hatchling is barely 30 centimeters long, it's covered in this downy coat of primitive feathers just to preserve its body heat, and it weighs less than a house cat, letting out these high-pitched bird-like trills. It is incredibly fragile and vulnerable. Yet, inside its tiny brain, the hardwired blueprint of an apex predator is already fully formed, its wide eyes instantly scanning the environment. But here's the reality check. The infant mortality rate is staggering. 70%. Over 70% of T-Rex hatchlings literally won't survive their first year. The forest floor is an absolute meat grinder. The second they hatch, these lightning-fast dromaeosaurids, just incredibly agile predators, are ready to snatch them up. To those smaller hunters, a T-Rex hatchling is just a quick, protein-rich jackpot. To really grasp this epic journey, we're going to track our survivor chronologically. We're looking at day 1 in the nest, moving through the mysterious ghost phase at age 3, hitting a brutal physical metamorphosis by age 14, and finally reaching its maximum biological lifespan around 28 years old. Chapter 2: The Ghost Phase. Now, during this phase, juveniles looked so radically different from adults that scientists actually once mistook them for a completely separate species of dinosaur. The way they survived is just brilliant. They were these sleek, dog-sized runners with long, slender legs and mottled feathers that acted like perfect camouflage in the dappled forest light. And they were fast, capable of sprinting at nearly 35 kilometers per hour. Instead of trying to fight the massive adult T-Rexes for food, they basically claimed a totally different ecological niche. They used that blinding speed and blade-like slicing teeth to hunt smaller, fast-moving prey in the understory, totally avoiding competition with their own massive parents. Chapter 3: A Radical Metamorphosis. But that agile ghost phase, it's a ticking clock. To become the true king of Hell Creek, this animal has to go through an exhausting, calorie-burning biological transformation. 2 kilograms. That is how much flesh and bone a T-Rex is packing on every single day between its 14th and 18th years. 2 kilos a day. The animal is constantly hunting, panting, and just burning hot to fuel this absolutely explosive growth spurt. During those 4 grueling years, the animal literally rebuilt itself from the inside out. That sleek, lightweight frame totally vanishes. Its skull deepens, fusing into this rigid vault of bone just to handle massive mechanical stress. It trades in those slicing teeth for thick, serrated railroad spike pegs. Basically, our lightweight runner transforms into a heavily armored, heavily muscled tactician. Chapter 4: Sovereign of Hell Creek. By age 22, it reaches its absolute physical peak. Welcome to the era of the Sovereign. Seriously, just by stepping out of the forest shadows and onto the open floodplain, its mere presence completely alters the behavior of every living thing in the valley. This adult T-Rex is the absolute pinnacle of predatory evolution. Every single element of its anatomy is optimized for pure efficiency. It has binocular vision that's actually superior to a modern hawk, giving it pinpoint spatial awareness. Its olfactory bulbs are massive, meaning it can smell a herd from kilometers away.
So forget that mindless, flailing monster from the movies. This is a highly calculated, armored ambush specialist.
And speaking of movies, we've got to correct a huge misconception right now. The T-Rex did not let out these high-pitched theatrical roars. Instead, it used infrasound. We're talking deep, low-frequency subterranean vibrations. Think of a terrifying chest-rattling rumble that you'd feel vibrating in the earth and in nearby puddles of water, long before you actually ever heard it. It's this physiological sensation of pure dread. And when that dread turned into an actual physical ambush, the results were devastating. 35,000 newtons. That is the adult T-Rex's bite force. When it clashed with heavily armored prey, like a massive bull triceratops, it wasn't playing a hit-and-run game. It delivered a definitive conclusion.
To put 35,000 newtons into perspective for you, that is roughly equivalent to the weight of 3 modern cars sitting on a single point. 3 cars. Those massive, serrated teeth didn't just bite flesh, they acted like wedges driven by unimaginable mechanical force, effortlessly shattering solid bone and fracturing ribs. It was a brutal, incredibly high-stakes collision of biological armor and raw power.
Chapter 5, The Final Fall.
But time is the one enemy no apex predator cannot maneuver, right? By its late 20s, the magnificent king has reached the absolute limit of its biological lifespan. That incredible weight that once made this animal an unstoppable force of nature, it slowly turns against its own skeletal frame. Its later years are defined by just the sheer weight of time. It suffers from severe arthritis that deforms its knee joints. It endures chronic pain from old battle injuries, maybe some broken ribs from a triceratops charge years back. And its breath comes in these ragged, wheezing gasps after a cold night.
There's no glorious final battle to end its reign. It's just a quiet, inevitable collapse. Picture the sun setting over the Cretaceous floodplain, casting these long, dark, cinematic shadows. The old tyrant stumbles at the edge of a muddy riverbed. Its arthritic knee gives way and it falls. Its heart, which pumped blood through 8 tons of muscle for nearly 3 decades, simply slows its rhythm. Its lungs take one final draw of air. It is a really poignant, unglamorous shutdown of a truly magnificent biological machine.
So, how does this build into the legacy we know today? Well, first, the animal is buried in that thick mud, and mineral-rich waters seep into its bones, slowly turning them to stone. Next, continents literally drift over millions of years. Mountains rise, the entire age of the dinosaurs ends. And finally, millions of years later, those perfectly preserved bones are unearthed and mounted in a quiet, softly lit modern museum gallery.
Which leaves us with this final thought. The next time you're standing in one of those museums, looking up at the towering skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex under the gallery lights, what are you going to see? Will you see a mindless movie monster, or will you see the deeply complex biological reality, the fragile, downy hatchling that dodged predators, completely rebuilt its own body from the inside out, and survived against all conceivable odds to claim an ancient world? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible journey with me today.